Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister chairs high-level meeting attended by External Affairs Minister, Defence Minister and National Security Advisor, even as India and Pakistan to hold DGMO level talks after days of shelling by Pakistan. Normalcy returning to border towns of India. Indian Armed Forces reveal how Operation Sindu neutralized over 100 terrorists. Targeted Pakistan's aerial sites, including its air headquarters, warn that even Karachi is not out of India's reach. India and European Union to resume negotiations on the proposed free trade agreement today, aiming to conclude the first phase of the pact as early as possible. Hamas announces plans to release American hostage Edan Alexander ahead of Trump's West Asia visit. Qatar, Egypt hailed the move as breakthrough towards Gaza ceasefire. US envoy calls it a positive step forward. US and China hail substantial progress after trade talks in Geneva. Stocks and dollar gain after concerns of a trade war between the world's two biggest economies eased. Indian benchmark indices rebound in early trade. Sensex jumps over 2,200 points. Nifty surges 700 points. A stupendous innings comes to an end. One of the most celebrated and successful batsmen calls it a day. Virat Kohli announces retirement from Test cricket. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a high-level meeting at his residence in Delhi. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and Chiefs of 3 services were also in attendance. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri was also present in the meeting. After days of escalation between India and Pakistan, the DGMOs of India and Pakistan reached an understanding on halting all military action and are set to hold talks on May 12th, that is today. In a high-stakes development following the launch of Operation Sindu, the Ministry of Defence held a joint press conference on Sunday to brief the nation on the operation's progress and also the strategic outlook. Addressing the media, DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai said that those strikes along those 9 terror hubs left more than 100 terrorists killed.
Those strikes across those 9 terror hubs left more than 100 terrorists killed, including high-value targets such as Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf and Mudassir Ahmed that were involved in the hijack of IC-814 and the Pulwama blast. The line of control was also violated soon after by Pakistan, and the erratic and rattled response of our enemy was apparent from the number of civilians, inhabited villages and religious sites such as Gurudwaras that were unfortunately hit by them, leading to a sad loss of lives. The Indian Air Force played a major part in these strikes by engaging some of these camps, and the Indian Navy provided wherewithal in terms of precision munitions.
DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai also said that Pakistan flew drones and aircraft into our airspace all across the borders and made largely unsuccessful attempts to target numerous military infrastructure.
Operation Sindoor was conceptualized with a clear military aim to punish the perpetrators and planners of terror and to destroy their terror infrastructure. What I do not state here, of course, is the often stated determination of India and its intolerance to terror.
Addressing the media, Air Marshal A.K. Bharti said that the aim of the 7th of May strikes was to target terrorists and their infrastructure, not any other infrastructure, especially not Pakistani civilian or military establishments.
targets, and out of the 9 selected targets, the target systems that were given to the Indian Air Force were the notorious training camps at Bhavalpur and Muridke, these being further from the international boundary. Through critical target system analysis, we analyzed what was to be done to annihilate these targets and plan to engage these targets with precision air-to-surface guided munitions so as to avoid collateral damage. On the 7th, our objective was to address these two terrorist camps, and that we did with precision. And thereafter, we maintained a robust air defense posture because remember, our objective was to target the terrorists and terrorist infrastructure, not any other infrastructure, not the Pakistani military, not the Pakistani any other infrastructure.
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Sunday praised Operation Sindu, asserting that the Indian armed forces have delivered a decisive blow to anti-India elements inside Pakistan. He also said that Operation Sindu was not just a military action, but a symbol of India's political, social and strategic willpower.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh hailed Operation Sindur as a defining moment in India's fight against terrorism. He asserted that the operation was launched to destroy terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and POK, and innocent civilians were not targeted.
भारतीय सेनाओं ने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर को पाकिस्तान में मौजूद आतंकी ढांचा ढहाने के उद्देश्य से लॉन्च किया था। हमने उनके आम नागरिकों को कभी निशाना नहीं बनाया था, मगर पाकिस्तान ने न केवल भारत के नागरिक इलाकों को निशाना बनाया, बल्कि मंदिर, गुरुद्वारा, गिरजाघर पर भी हमले करने का प्रयास किया। भारतीय सेना ने शौर्य और पराक्रम के साथ साथ संयम का भी परिचय देते हुए पाकिस्तान के अन्य ठिकानों पर भी प्रहार करके करारा जवाब दिया है।
India's Defence Minister said Operation Sindur's impact has not only shaken the borders of Pakistan but reached till Rawalpindi.
भारतीय सेना ने शौर्य और पराक्रम के साथ साथ संयम का भी परिचय देते हुए पाकिस्तान के अन्य ठिकानों पर भी प्रहार करके करारा जवाब दिया है। हमने केवल सीमा से सटे सैन्य ठिकानों पर ही नहीं कार्रवाई की, बल्कि भारत की सेनाओं की धमक उस रावलपिंडी तक सुनी गई जहां पाकिस्तानी फौज का हेडक्वार्टर मौजूद है।
Defence Minister termed Operation Sindur as a proof that whenever India acts against terrorism, even the land across the border is not safe for terrorists and their masters.
भारत में आतंकवादी घटनाएं करने और कराने का क्या अंजाम होता है, यह पूरे विश्व ने उरी की घटना के बाद देखा, जब हमारी सेना ने पाकिस्तान में घुसकर सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक की। पुलवामा के बाद देखा जब बालाकोट पर एयर स्ट्राइक की गई, और अब पहलगाम की घटना के बाद दुनिया देख रही है कि जब भारत ने पाकिस्तान के भीतर घुसकर मल्टीपल स्ट्राइक्स की हैं। आतंकवाद के खिलाफ जीरो टॉलरेंस की नीति पर चलते हुए हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने स्पष्ट कर दिया है कि यह नया भारत है जो आतंक के खिलाफ सरहद के इस पार और उस पार दोनों तरफ प्रभावी कार्रवाई करेगा। यह हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने स्पष्ट रूप से यह संदेश दे दिया है।
India launched Operation Sindur on May 7th in reply to the ghastly terror attack in Pahalgam on April 22nd that claimed the lives of 26 people. India had struck 9 terror sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Bureau Report, DD India.
With markets reopening, normalcy is returning to border areas of India in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Gujarat and Rajasthan, day after an agreement of understanding was reached between India and Pakistan. The security establishment also remains on alert. We get you a detailed report ahead.
The situation in border areas of India is returning to normal a day after an agreement of understanding was reached between India and Pakistan. In Jammu and Kashmir, no drones, firing or shelling activity were reported during the intervening night of May 10th and 11th. In Srinagar, markets were bustling as shoppers returned. Calm also prevailed close to the line of control in Poonch and Rajouri. People resumed daily activities in several Punjab districts including Firozpur and Pathankot. Markets have also reopened in Shaheed Bhagat Singh Nagar. Red alert continues in Amritsar district with authorities urging residents to remain indoors and avoid windows. Power supply has been restored for public convenience. In Rajasthan, no hostile movements or airspace violations were detected overnight. The state's security establishment remains on alert. The situation also remained normal in Gujarat, where state headquarters and district administrations conducted a review meeting to assess and reinforce preparedness. Bureau Report, DD India.
The ruling Bharatiya Janata Party's national spokesperson, Dr. Sambit Patra, held a press conference at the party's headquarters in New Delhi on Monday. Addressing the media, he said that the innocent lives lost in the Pahalgam terror attack have been avenged. Discussing Operation Sindu, he said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decision and the bravery of our armed forces ensured terror sites are reduced to rubble. He said that it was a proud moment for all Indians. He said the successful conduction of Operation Sindoor was a clear message to the world that India will not tolerate any kind of terrorism. Pakistan has yet again been globally humiliated in its conflict against India. After officers of all the three wings of Indian Armed Forces addressed a press conference with video and photo evidence to present proof to the punitive strikes on Pakistani military installations, Pakistani press conference that followed generated a lot of interest and invited ridicule. Media organizations across the globe ridiculed Pakistan for imitating the press conference for mere optics. Unlike Indian side, which presented irrevocable and undeniable proof on the strikes, Pakistani generals just indulged in a hogwash. Unverifiable clips from the social media did not cut much ice with people raising doubts on their authenticity. India's Operation Sindoor marked a significant demonstration of the country's military and strategic prowess through a blend of military and non-military means. Now, Indian Armed Forces carried out coordinated precision missile strikes on 9 terrorist facilities, 4 in Pakistan and 5 in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. In response to Pakistan's retaliatory drone and missile attacks on May 7th, 8th and 9th, India destroyed Pakistani air defences. India's air defence system neutralised all incoming threats, resulting in near zero casualties or material losses. India's counter-military actions on the 9th and 10th of May damaged 11 Pakistani Air Force sites. Shahbaz Air Base at Jacobabad saw large-scale destruction. Various ammunition depots and bases were hit and 20% infrastructure was destroyed. India bombed Pakistan's Bholari Air Base, inflicted heavy damage to air assets, including people fighter jets. During the operation, multiple terror and military locations across Pakistan were attacked. Following Pakistani artillery and mortar shelling along the line of control, Indian troops responded with calibrated counter-fire, destroying terrorist bunkers and Pakistani army's positions. Under India's non-kinetic efforts, suspension of the Indus Water Treaty was a decisive move with far-reaching consequences. Pakistan depends on the Indus system for 80% of its 16 million hectares of farmland and 93% of its total water use. Any disruption in water flow threatens agricultural losses, food shortages, water rationing in major cities, and rolling blackouts that could cripple industries. By suspending the treaty, India gave a decisive message that water and blood cannot flow together. India closed the Atari-Wagah border and suspended all bilateral trade with Pakistan, halting export of key goods. Now, this imposed immediate economic costs on Pakistan, already grappling with inflation and debt. India also cancelled visas of all Pakistanis living in India, showing strong resolve against terrorism. A complete ban on Pakistani artists was imposed, cutting off Pakistan's cultural influence in India. Now, this exposed Pakistan's terror ecosystem globally and isolated Pakistan diplomatically. You're watching DD India Live. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Iran-US nuclear talks come to a close in Oman. Stay with us to get the details. Aiming to bring fairness to America, US President Donald Trump slashes prescription drug prices by up to 80% for American consumers.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get to updates from Russia-Ukraine crisis now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has stated that he is ready to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin this Thursday in Istanbul. This announcement follows encouragement from US President Donald Trump for Zelensky to accept an immediate offer of negotiations with Russia. Zelensky also reaffirmed that Kyiv's proposed ceasefire for Monday remains in effect and is awaiting a response from Moscow. In his evening address, he cautioned that Ukrainian forces are prepared to retaliate if Russia violates the proposed truce.
We expect a ceasefire. The proposal for this is on the table. A complete and unconditional ceasefire, long enough to provide the necessary foundation for diplomacy, could bring peace much closer. I will be in Turkey this Thursday, May 15th, and I am expecting Putin in Turkey personally.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and US Envoy Steve Witkoff held the fourth round of talks in Muscat, mediated by Oman on Monday. Speaking at a cabinet meeting, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian asserted that Iran has no intention of developing nuclear weapons. Pezeshkian underlined Iran's dedication to using nuclear technology for peaceful purposes, including in healthcare and agriculture. The official said both sides signaled readiness for further talks, despite Iran's insistence on enriching uranium and US hardline rhetoric.
The Islamic Republic of Iran is not seeking nuclear weapons. America said they wanted to be sure that we did not want to acquire nuclear weapons and we were ready with all our might, but for them to state and announce that we would abandon the issue of peacefulness in nuclear research, and then for them to want to negotiate with us is something that is absolutely unacceptable. We need nuclear technology in healthcare, agriculture, industry, the environment and industry, and we are not going to give up this achievement so easily.
Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi called the latest nuclear talks with the US more serious and straightforward.
We can now say that both sides have a better understanding of each other's positions. Many of the main points of disagreement have now been more thoroughly discussed. Their dimensions have been further clarified. There is now a better mutual understanding and the positions have somewhat come closer. I can state that we have decided that these negotiations will continue. Both sides are determined and we have agreed to hold the next meeting.
Hamas has agreed to release Israeli-American hostage Edan Alexander, the last known American in captivity, marking a shift in stalled Gaza ceasefire talks. Trump praised the decision and committed to advocating for lasting peace during his upcoming Middle East visit. DD India's Kajal has more on this.
Hamas has agreed to release Israeli-American hostage Edan Alexander, believed to be the last surviving American in captivity. The announcement made on Sunday marks a turning point in the stalled Gaza ceasefire talks. The breakthrough is a key component of wider initiatives aimed at ending the conflict. In a joint statement, Qatar and Egypt described Hamas's decision to release Edan Alexander as a promising move that could help revive Gaza ceasefire negotiations, which have been at a standstill since March.
Edan is a great guy, Jersey boy, all-American kid, great swimmer. Graduated from the high school like everybody else instead of college. Traveled to Israel, served in IDF, and found himself on the wrong spot and the wrong time. And here, 435 days later, we're here fighting for his return.
US President Donald Trump hailed the decision, vowing to push for lasting peace. In a social media post, he said, "This was a step taken in good faith towards the United States and the efforts of the mediators Qatar and Egypt to put an end to this very brutal war and return all living hostages and remains to their loved ones." Trump is set to visit the Middle East this week. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Israel did not agree to a ceasefire or release of prisoners with Hamas. Netanyahu's office added that the only commitment made was to establish a safe corridor for the release of Israeli-American hostage Edan Alexander. Hamas had released 38 hostages under a ceasefire that began on January 19th. In March, Israel resumed its military operations in Gaza after Hamas refused to extend the ceasefire without a commitment to end the war. Israel said it will maintain its military operations until all 59 hostages are freed. Bureau Report, DD India.
US President Donald Trump announced a sweeping new pharmaceutical policy aimed at slashing prescription drug prices by up to 80% for American consumers. In a social media post, Trump declared the move would finally bring fairness to America, claiming that prices would rise globally to align with reduced US rates. The plan, expected to be enacted via executive order on Monday, marks one of the administration's most aggressive actions on healthcare. Trump emphasized that the new policy would end years of what he describes as unfair pricing. The United States and China report substantial progress after high-level trade talks in fact, in Geneva, marking a possible thaw in tensions sparked by steep tariffs and ongoing economic rivalry. A joint communique is expected on Monday. Indian stock markets witnessed a sharp rally on Monday morning. The benchmark Nifty 50 index registering a gain of 2.92% surged, and also the BSE Sensex reflected a rise by around 2.85%. This is a sharp jump of over 2,268 points. Sectoral indices reflected widespread buying interest. Except for the pharma segment, all other sectors opened in the green. The overall Asian markets also opened higher on hopes of a US-China trade agreement. India's iconic cricketer Virat Kohli has called it curtains on his illustrious Test career. Kohli posted on social media platform, and I quote him, "It's been 14 years since I first wore the baggy blue in Test cricket. As I step away from this format, it's not easy, but it feels right. I've given it everything I had, and it's given me back so much more that I could have hoped for. I'm walking away with a heart full of gratitude for the game, for the people I shared the field with, and also for every single person who made me feel better along the way." The retirement marks the end of an illustrious career of 14 years, during which he made 9,230 runs in 123 tests with 30 centuries. He made his test debut against West Indies in 2011. He has already retired from T20 international cricket. However, he will continue to play ODIs for India. Abhishek Mahajan is joining us to get us more. Abhishek, an era comes to an end. Not a very good beginning of the week for the Kohli fans, isn't it?
Yes, Sweetie. Virat Kohli had expressed his desire to retire from Test cricket, and he had conveyed it to the BCCI top brass and the selectors too. And it has come right ahead of the England tour. We are getting to know that the selectors tried, in fact, to persuade him, but he had made up his mind, which means now India will be without Rohit Sharma, R. Ashwin, and also Virat Kohli now at the England tour. yes, like you said, what a big void. And who had thought a few days ago that India will be without these greats, Ashwin, Rohit and Kohli in England. But what a career he has had. That is testament to Test cricket spirit. Yes, he had a forgettable outing in Australia, scoring 190 runs in 9 innings. I mean, worst Test outing in Australia. And he was gutted also. And he had said at the Bengaluru summit that he was a little inconsistent of late. And he was very disappointed. But yes, pretty good news is that he will continue to play the ODIs. And he in fact posted this on Instagram message that I'm walking away with a heart full of gratitude. I'll always look back at my Test career with a smile. After 269 signing off. And BCCI also posted a message saying Virat Kohli, an era ends in Test cricket, but the legacy will continue forever. Kohli, the former Team India captain, retires from Test cricket and his contributions to Team India will forever be cherished. And Preeti also, he played Test cricket for 14 years. He went on to become the 4th highest run getter for India behind Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, the great Sunil Gavaskar also. And still remember he had made his Test debut in 2011, eventually becoming the skipper in 2014 when Dhoni had announced his retirement midway in the Australia tour. I remember Virat Kohli led the country in 68 Tests to be precise, which is most by an Indian, and losing just 17 of them, which is 25%. He has got a win percentage of 58.82%, 40 wins and 11 draws. And yes, without any doubt, beyond any shade of doubt, Preeti, Virat Kohli remains India's most successful red ball captain also. But yes, I mean, very difficult for everyone to accept that Virat Kohli will not be seen in Test cricket now, and the whites will never shine the same again.
All right, Abhishek, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with that input. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.